Hey, welcome back to the channel, everybody. It's 117 degrees out here in the Mojave Desert today. Anyway, today we're going to talk about the top 3 totally free power mods that you can do on your Lexus GX460. Yes, these are free mods, cost you nothing to get you more power. All right, so let's jump straight away into it, and let's talk about these free mods that are going to cost you nothing. All right, the first mod is going to be S mode. So S mode, if you didn't know, is down here on your shifter, and what it essentially does is force a downshift on you, and it will get you into the power band. And so if you don't understand what I mean by the power band, it's literally the engine RPM range that gives you the most power. Why is this important? Most people driving their Lexus GX460 are not by any means in the peak power band. So when you see the stats on a Lexus GX460 about how it's got 302 or whatever horsepower and then 330 pound-feet of torque, that's only available to you if you're in the correct RPM range. And so that's what I'm getting at today. So if you are cruising along, on-road, off-road, whatever, and you feel that you don't have enough power, kick it down into S mode. I'll do it right now. S mode. It's going to drop me down and keep me in the so-called power band. Kick it out of S mode because I really don't need it now. But this is not subjective, this is objective. The peak power band for your Lexus GX460 is around 5,500 RPMs. That is virtually redline. So if I didn't make that clear, you're never ever getting 300 horsepower unless you are at 5,500 RPMs. So if you want to know where the power is at, it's at 5,500 RPMs, right where the data says it is. And again, it's objective, it's proof. Now the torque, max torque, is down there at around 3,300 RPMs. So most people are hitting the torque, so that's not an issue when they take off. Oh. So torque's not an issue. Most people are hitting that, but see how you drive. You might not be hitting that. Anyway, the point of this rambling is kick it down in the S mode, and we'll do it up here later when we hit pavement, and you'll see that it will downshift, and you can stay in that peak power range without the transmission shifting on you. It's going to keep you, when you use S mode, I'm saying, it's going to keep you around that 5,500 RPM, and you can exploit that. That's the point of this rambling here. You can exploit the power band. Now, someone's going to ask, ooh, hit the brakes. Someone's going to ask, is that going to hurt the engine? No, it's not going to hurt the engine. This 4.6 liter V8 is a baby V8 designed by Yamaha. It is a slapper of an engine, and the safety margins within this engine are broad. In other words, what I'm saying is, the red line that you see on your car here is not the car's true red line. So if you want to hang out near red line, it's totally safe, it's totally fine, it's not going to hurt the engine. This is not the pushrod days of the old American built engines. This is a over-engineered, quote-unquote, under-stressed, tiny, high-revving V8 engine designed by Yamaha. It is an absolute slapper. You can romp on this thing all you want. It has a rev limiter. Use common sense, obviously. But if you need to exploit it for passing situations, having fun on windy roads, whatever the heck it is you're doing, feel free to do it. You don't need to feel like you're going to hurt something. Next one, the next free power mod that you can do on your GX460 is to set the tire pressure correctly. And the correct tire pressure, oh, there's a jackrabbit. The correct tire pressure is what the door sticker says. So in the case of this GX, it's 32 PSI cold. Now the logic behind how you get more power, oh, there's tires, speaking of tires, but the logic of how you're going to get more power from setting your air pressure correctly is most people don't set it, their tire pressure on what the sticker says. No, they don't set it at 32 PSI. They think that's some sort of wild suggestion by drunk engineers. It's actually correct and meant to give you the most power. Most people, instead of setting it at 32 PSI door pressure, are going to go ahead, take it upon themselves to set it up to 40 PSI or 45 PSI or even 50 PSI because that's what they heard somewhere, or they start rambling about nonsense like rolling resistance or smoothing out the ride or whatever sort of some nonsense that they can think of. The proper PSI is to set it at stock 32 PSI. This is, again, presuming your car is not modified in any some sort of way that changed that. Anyway, if you keep your PSI at 32 PSI, your footprint is going to be, meaning your tread footprint is going to be at optimal levels. It's going to allow you to get the most grip on the road, so when you take off with that power on the accelerator, which again we'll do here in a moment, when we're going to hit pavement here in a moment, you're going to get the most traction. That's the point of my nonsensical rambling here. You're going to get the most traction to take off and accelerate, and you're going to get the least amount of rolling resistance. In other words, it's the sweet spot. If you go ahead and overinflate your tires, you're going to reduce your so-called footprint or footprint of traction, for lack of a better word. You're going to reduce that, and when you go to take off and accelerate, there's less rubber on the road. So you're not going to accelerate as hard, and consequently you won't brake as hard, and consequently your handling won't be as good. So if you go ahead and air down and flatten your tire print like most people do off-road, in many situations, you're going to lengthen that, and you're going to make that you're going to lengthen your footprint is what I'm trying to say. You're going to make it long, and that's going to give you more traction. That's great for off-road. But when you're on-road and you want more power, most people are overinflated, and they're taking away a good amount of square footage. Remember, we have to add up not just one tire footprint. You got to add up. You got to add up all 4 tires. So let's just say whatever it's. I don't know. I'm just guessing. Let's say it's I don't know, 5 square inches. I'm just picking fake numbers. But let's say if you're overinflated, you lose 5 square inches of rubber for 1 tire. So times that by 4, and you're going to lose 20 square inches of traction. Think about that. So that's a lot of traction that you're losing if we put this in a square footage. And again, these are fake numbers, but you get what I'm rambling here. You're losing a bunch of traction by overinflating your tires. And if you put the PSI back where it belongs, you're going to regain that footprint, and you're going to have a lot more power. Now, of course, it's not going to transform it into a different car. The point is, you're actually going to get the power that Lexus promised you, and that's the theme in today's video. Now, here we are on pavement here, and we're going to take off. This is the other way. They went to 5,500 RPMs. Okay, 5,500 RPMs. Floor it. Stop being afraid of your GX. Obviously, don't do anything stupid, but as you saw there, if you put the pedal to the metal, the car will shift at 5,500 RPMs. In other words, when it's peaked out, when it's maxed out, and that's how you get the most power. That was a little bonus. All right, let's go to the third one, and then we'll play around with S-Mode up here. The third one is to use premium fuel. Use your premium fuel inside of your premium Lexus vehicle. The GX is considered a quote-unquote high compression engine. So you want to use premium fuel because all these power numbers in your Lexus GX550, again, are spec'd from the engineers using and testing and designing this vehicle to use premium fuel, 91 octane or higher. If you don't use premium fuel and you put in 87, the car will run. But the NOx sensors will sense that you put in the wrong fuel, quote unquote wrong fuel, and it will retard the timing to stop pre-ignition. When the ECU retards the timing when you put in non-premium fuel, it is essentially acting like it has less compression. And you can already imagine why less compression isn't going to be good for gaining power. So if you want to squeeze out the power, again, that you were promised by Lexus, don't cheap out on premium fuel just because other people get away with it. Sure, you could do it, but again, this video is all about power. So premium fuel is where it's at. You have a high compression. Yes, I know some other cars with this engine or that version or this version or the Toyota version don't use premium fuel and they ran just fine. They'll run just fine, but you're not going to squeak out that peak power that is there, and it is objective and it is measurable. And the computers do retard the timing with the wrong fuel, turning it into a lower compression engine, essentially. So put in your premium fuel. All right, let's get back to S mode here for a second, and I'm just cruising along at 55 miles an hour, let's call it. So we're in a bit of a flat section. Here comes the uphill, and we're going to drop it down into second gear to really show. Here comes a 4Runner. We're really going to show what this thing can do and what the power band is all about. Once you keep it up in that 4,000 to 5,000 redline-ish RPM. So a big hill here. Take it down to fourth, third, puts us 3. Let's go down to second. Now we're gonna up she goes. Hey, you could stay here and you've got a race car engine, or you could go up to third, but this is your power. Listen to this engine. You go down to second again. Won't let you. Won't do the money shift. Let's try again. And now I'm at $5,000, over $5,000. And this thing is just singing. I hope you can hear that V8. And I'm not even a V8 person, but let me tell you, between this and KDSS, now I'm in second gear. This is the power band. This is your 300 horsepower. That's what it wants. Okay, so this is what it's like to drive a GX460 and this 4.6 right at redline. And that's your power band. You can let off from the gas and just bring it back. And if you run out of power band, just go up to third gear. Now, you don't have to go extreme down into second gear unless you want. Yeah, unless you want to do this. Yeah, you have a ridiculous amount. This is your 300 horsepower, and you hear this engine singing. And you've got all this power. So match it up to what you're doing and what mood you're in. Now you don't have to be in second gear to do this, but I am sailing up these hills with the full 300 horsepower, or whatever it is, 301, 2 horsepower that Lexus provides. Put it back in the drive, and you're good to go.